I never planned for this. I never meant for it to happen, not with him. But life doesn't always respect boundaries. Sometimes, it crashes through them like a wave, dragging everything away that once felt steady. My name is Claire Weston, and for 17 years, I was married to David Weston, a quiet man who gave me a predictable life. He was never cruel, but never curious either. We had 2 kids, a lovely home in Vermont, and a calendar full of the same annual vacations. Our routine was safe, but somewhere along the way, it stopped being fulfilling. David became more like a roommate than a husband. We'd drift apart quietly, in unspoken inches. The worst part? I didn't even notice until someone else made me feel seen again. His name was Liam Blake. He was 10 years younger than me, the brother of my closest friend Jenna. I'd known him since he was a teenager. He was always charming, always smiling, and always harmless. Or so I thought. It began innocently. Jenna had moved back to town to care for their ailing mother. Liam tagged along and started working remotely from Vermont. He'd stop by our house now and then, help David with his old car, play board games with the kids, or bring over pie his mom had made. We'd chat. I'd laugh more in those moments than I had in months. The first time something shifted, it caught me off guard. It was the night of our neighborhood's summer bonfire. David had gone home early, citing a headache. I stayed behind, nursing a cup of cider while Liam told a story that had everyone in stitches. Later, while helping me clean up, he looked at me in a way no one had in years. "You're different when you laugh," he said. "Like alive." I brushed it off with a polite smile, pretending I hadn't felt the warmth rise in my cheeks. But I noticed things after that. The way his eyes lingered just a moment too long. The way my heart picked up when his name popped up in a text. The way I started wearing my hair differently, unconsciously, on days I knew I'd see him. Then came the night that changed everything. It was raining, one of those late August storms that knocks the electricity out. David was away on a business trip, and the kids were at their grandparents' house for the weekend. I was alone. Liam had offered to stop by and help with the generator, which I clumsily tried to set up but couldn't. When he arrived, soaked to the bone, I handed him a towel and a grateful smile. The house was lit by candles, the air filled with the scent of rain and something unspoken. After he fixed the generator, we shared coffee in the dim light. The silence between us pulsed like a heartbeat. Then he said softly, "Claire, can I ask you something?" I nodded. "Are you happy?" he asked. "Really happy?" My throat tightened. I wanted to lie. I wanted to say yes. But I couldn't. "I don't know anymore," I whispered. He stood up, took 2 steps forward, and looked into my eyes with an intensity one hadn't felt in years. "I can't stop thinking about you," he said. "I know it's wrong. But I see you, Claire. And I think you see me too." I should have stopped him. I should have said no. But instead I touched his hand. That night, we kissed for the first time. It wasn't reckless or wild. It was quiet and slow, full of unsaid years and unmet needs. And though we didn't go beyond that kiss, I knew I had crossed a line I couldn't uncross. After that, things got complicated. Liam tried to keep his distance. But love, or whatever this was, doesn't obey logic. He'd stop by with excuses. A book I might like, a wrench David had loaned him, cookies for the kids. And every time, we'd find ourselves in the kitchen, talking too close, staring too long. And every night David was away, Liam came over. Not always physically but emotionally. Through texts. Through long calls that stretched past midnight. Through my dreams. I gave in every night, not just in body but in heart. I let myself feel something I hadn't in years. Adored, desired, understood. But guilt is a loud companion. David noticed. He didn't accuse me of anything, but he'd raise an eyebrow when I smiled at my phone. He became distant in his own way. More work trips, more silence at dinner. Part of me wondered if he knew. Or simply didn't care enough to ask. Jenna, on the other hand, sensed something. She once asked jokingly, "You and Liam aren't secretly texting behind my back, are you?" I laughed too hard. Too fake. She dropped it, but her eyes lingered. I told Liam we had to stop. That it wasn't fair to Jenna, or David, or even to ourselves. He nodded. But then he'd show up again. Usually when I needed someone the most. One day, Everything came crashing down. It was Jenna's birthday. A backyard celebration, music, laughter, people everywhere. Liam and I barely spoke that day. An unspoken agreement to keep our distance. But just as I was about to leave, he caught my hand in the dark. I still love you, he whispered. I know you're scared, but I can't unlove you, Claire. That night, David confronted me. I know, he said calmly. About Liam. I've known. I froze. I didn't want to believe it, he continued. But I've seen the way you look at him. And I don't blame you. Not really. His words broke me more than anger ever could. I tried, Claire. I tried to be enough for you. But I think we both know we've been done for a long time. We separated a month later. It wasn't messy. It was heartbreaking, yes. But also strangely freeing. For the first time in years, I breathed without guilt. The kids stayed with me mostly, but David remained an involved father. We were civil, polite. Two people who once shared a life, and had now simply chosen different paths. Liam didn't rush in after the divorce. In fact, he backed off, perhaps afraid, perhaps respectful of the space I needed. But he never stopped checking in. 6 months later, I invited him over. No rain, no darkness, just daylight and coffee. I'm not the same woman I was before, I told him. I know, he said. But I never loved you for who you were. I loved you for who you were becoming. And in that moment, I let go of the guilt. I let go of the shame. I gave in, not out of weakness, but out of strength. We didn't rush into a relationship. We rebuilt it slowly, as two people choosing each other, without secrecy or shame. Some people judged. Some whispered. But I didn't care. Because for once, I wasn't surviving. I was living. He couldn't stop loving me, and finally, I loved myself enough to let him.